I first began to put together what's now known as the Neuroprotective Developmental Care Sleep Domain, or the Possums Sleep Program, in the late 1990s actually, and began to present very early versions of this work from the 2000s. I went to what was the existing sleep research literature at the time and applied two theoretical frames, and this is how I continued to develop the Possums Sleep Program through the 2000s. The frame of evolutionary biology and what was emerging there from some of our pioneering anthropologists and evolutionary biologists, and the frame of complexity science, dynamic systems theory, very interesting to me as a general practitioner who understands from all that work in the clinic how problems that emerge usually come out, or very often come out of, multiple different factors that interact together within that complex system, and which, if the feedback loops aren't able to continue to dampen down, all of these disruptions eventually emerge as something that's really problematic. In this case, really problematic sleep problems for families. So it was using those two frames applied to the emerging research literature that I began to develop up the NDC Baby Sleep Program, really quite revolutionary in terms of how we think about baby sleep. And back then, there was nothing like it. It is a complete paradigm shift. So I began to deliver that in the clinic in 2011 here in Brisbane, in the very first Possums clinic with a multidisciplinary team. And in 2012 ran a baby sleep conference, presented the Possums Sleep Program, and afterwards Dr. Koa Whittingham introduced herself to me, a clinical psychologist and researcher. Koa manualised the existing Possums Sleep Program and integrated it with acceptance and commitment therapy, which has just exploded onto the world stage since 2012, 2013, as a very powerful set of strategies for managing difficult thoughts and feelings, and which we've gone on to integrate into all the aspects of the neuroprotective developmental care work. So in 2014, Koa and I published our theoretical framing for the Possums Sleep Program, or the Neuroprotective Developmental Care Sleep Domain. There's been also a systematic review that I and a co-author, Peter Hill, published just prior to that theoretical framing paper, that showed that the sleep training-based interventions really don't decrease night waking for families, and actually don't improve maternal mood beyond the way any kind caring therapeutic encounter improves, acts positively on parental mood. So even though any caring engagement with women with babies will help support her sense of well-being, the sleep training approaches, or first wave behavioural approaches, are not being shown to improve maternal mood beyond the effects of a caring therapeutic encounter. So we published that systematic review. We published the theoretical framing paper, continued delivering the Possums Sleep Program in the clinical context in the Possums Clinic. My book came out, which also showed the basics of the Possums Sleep Program. And then we've gone on to educate health professionals around Australia and also from overseas in the Possums Sleep Program. We now have something like 155 participants in our NDC networks, health professionals. 35 of those have completed the NDC accreditation process and are delivering the NDC Sleep Domain or the Possums Sleep Program in their communities. If you have a look at possumsonline.com, you'll see where you can find an NDC provider. So this whole revolution, if you like, in baby sleep, our understandings around baby sleep, has evolved in my work over 20 years. In 2013, with the help of a small group of committed people, I founded our charitable organisation, Possums for Mothers and Babies Limited, also known as Possums for Parents with Babies. The neuroprotective developmental care work has always been driven by values rather than commercial interest. It's mostly been developed out of unpaid research work and is primarily concerned with growing joy in early life, as our motto says. With really caring for parents with babies in a way that makes life easier and more enjoyable.